Wow, it says I'm live. So we are live. I can see Patricia and Austrian Carnivore in the chat. So today is just the Q&A. So give me all your questions and we shall get them answered. And meanwhile, I just want to give a little bit of a reminder to those of you who are interested in getting a little bit more support and join our little community that we are building right now on Facebook. The group is called, let's see, Life Beyond Cravings for Kick-Ass Ketovores, not Carnivores. And you can find it, I think I have the link in the description. If I don't, I shall put it there after the live stream. I forget if I have put it there. Just join the group. There will be a few questions that you have to answer, and you have to tick the box that you agree to the group rules. That's the rules. And if you don't, you're going to get a message from me saying that, hey, do it again and do it better, and then I will let you join. So there's nothing fishy going on there. You just have to answer those questions. It's the same as many other groups. Sometimes I know for me, when I'm joining something on my phone, it's just like a very long delay and those questions don't pop up. So if that happens, you will get a message saying, hey, you didn't do this. So you can join there. Let's see. Hello, hello. God, voice going already. That's pretty poor. We barely started 2 minutes in. Right, good. I like that you're here. You always have questions. It's perfect. So your question is, I had nightmares about school tests for my entire life. They disappeared on carnivore. Only had 2 to 3 carb mares in the last 5 months. Anyone else got that experience? I haven't. I don't know about you, Patricia, or who else is watching. It says that there are 3 people watching right now, so someone's quiet. Speaking of which, have you given the stream a thumbs up? If not, just do that. Or give it a thumbs down if you like. I don't really care. Just give it a thumbs anyway. No, I definitely haven't. I'm thinking that that might actually be something that is related to brain inflammation, but I don't know. I don't have any proof that that is true. Carnivore seems to be like the ideal diet for your nervous system, which means that if you can calm your nervous system down and sort of relax even in your sleep, you're probably going to do that better. Not sure what's going on with my throat today. It's early, but I've been up for a couple of hours and I just haven't been talking to anyone. Maybe I should make it a habit to talk to my dogs in the morning. Let's see. Did you also experience certain improvements on eating a variety of carnivore and then have seen a huge improvement when switching to ruminants? I'm not very varied. I prefer beef. But I can't do 100% carnivore, so I'm not the perfect person to ask about that. I don't notice any difference in any type of carnivore that I've been trying, but then I don't think I've been trying it for long enough to compare one way of eating carnivore with another way of eating carnivore. The first time I tried it, I was really strict and I didn't have any dairy on it either. I didn't last more than 16 days. I had the worst sort of depression I've ever had in my life. And I've never been depressed, clinically depressed. Everyone feels down, and sometimes it feels like, what the fuck is the point? But that was awful. And I really, before that happened, I really upped my fat. I ate lots of pork crackling, etc. But I'm thinking now, I'm wondering if I might have been up to 80%, maybe. Right now, I'm trying to eat 80% fat every day, but it's not going to work for me every day. So I'm doing it on most days. And the reason for that is that once again, I have had to go back to adding some carbs to my diet and to get rid of those headaches because I can't stand it and it's not worth it. Hello, Minions Cat. Good to see you here. You haven't run away from me yet. That's good. Hi everyone, my name is Melanie, using my mate's site today. Anthony Melanie. Excellent. We love it. Jacqueline. Hi Pim, I'm new to your channel, love all your content. I'm so glad. That's why I'm doing it. If I wouldn't be able to produce any material that will help you guys, then I may as well stop and do something different. So any sort of feedback, like do you want me to make any material on any specific thing? I think I'm covering everything cravings wise, but I might be missing something and everyone has like a different experience of things. So just let me know. You can post in the comments in the chat right now. You can send me an email. You can join the Facebook group and let me know there. I'm all ears. If I can do something and record a video that will help you, I will do so. See? Well trained. Like was placed already. Following that step, people. Yep. Hello, complete jit. I love you anyway. Good to have you here. Yeah. Low carb appears to have cured my clinical depression. It does that for so many people. And I keep bringing her up, but I just love Emily from In the Balance. She's like my soulmate. She reversed MS and bipolar disorder with carnivore diet. What more do you need to say? Like, that is huge. Not everyone will have as amazing results as she had, maybe, but I think when it comes to being depressed or being bipolar, etc., they will do better. And I see that in Bart as well. When he's on top of his diet, he's less irritable, shall we say. He seems to be able to handle life a little bit better. Not necessarily with a smile all the time, but at least there's no shouting. Oh, right. It's too funny. The ad before this was a Weight Watchers ad. Yeah, like on Watch live stream a few days ago, it was something about vegan chicken. I don't think that was money well spent from the people spending money on those ads. They probably ended up on the wrong channel. And when you're actually doing ads, you can actually choose where you want to be, but they probably took anything like nutrition related. So, anyhow, do you have any idea so far why some people have a massive improvement in migraine prevention with a small amount of low oxalate carbs? I've seen some people so far do better that way. Okay, I do have lots of theories. Um, so I don't even know what's going on with me right now. So let me give you a quick update. So I have been measuring my blood sugar and ketones for 10 days. Unfortunately, I ran out of the strips the other day, but so I'm gonna go to the pharmacy today and see if I can find some more. What happened was the first 2 days I was really high. I say really high because I didn't expect it to be that high, which was between 96 and 119 one morning, which is way too high. It shouldn't be like that when you're eating zero carbs, and I hadn't had any carbs. And then it just dropped down to 72, and I couldn't move it from there. And right now I'm kind of stuck there. And when it dropped, I also got a headache, like a really bad headache, and one of those that makes me very tired and makes me feel a little bit sick. All signs that you can have when you're hypoglycemic. And I've seemed to I'm not being able to get it up a lot with protein. I can get it up a slight bit, but then it goes back to baseline after a couple of hours. So that's not really helping with headaches. Somehow my headaches seem to need my blood sugar to go up more, but I'm not sure that it has to do with the actual blood sugar to kind of get rid of the headache. Whenever my blood sugar goes under 73, 74, something like that, if I have a headache, my headache is getting worse. I'm feeling a lot more tired. I had 3 days in a row when I had to have 2.5 hour naps. And I don't want to go back to that place. It's awful. And I really didn't know what was going on. So I One day I tried to eat 30 grams of carbs with Greek yogurt and blueberries. It lessened my headache, but it didn't go away, right? I waited a couple of days, I think, and then I had a sweet potato, also 30 grams of sugar or of starch in this case. But since a sweet potato is pretty much just glucose, I had a bigger blood sugar response. The headache went away straight away, but my blood sugar shot up a lot more than I'm comfortable with, which it didn't really, I mean, no, it didn't shoot up as high on blueberries and yogurt. Same amount of carbs, but different type of carbs. So when you're eating sugar like sucrose and fructose that you'll find some amount of in blueberries, it's it won't affect your blood sugar as much, and that was pretty evident. But also, it didn't take my headache away, whereas starch seemed to be able to do that. Why? I still don't know. I spoke to what's his name, Ryan Attar, yesterday to see if he had any ideas because he's a type 1 diabetic, not quite the same thing, but he should be quite good at blood sugar. And the only thing that he really could think of that could cause all of this is that I'm not eating enough and I'm about to puke on all the fucking food and I'm eating. So I'm not sure how to sort that out. The only thing that I can physically actually stomach is eating more fat, but I'm not sure if the fat is going to help. So I'm going to keep monitor, and meanwhile I'm just going to, when I feel like the headache's going to kick in, I'm going to try with some blueberries because they don't really want to spike my blood sugar as much as the starch is doing. If that doesn't help, then I will have to go back to the sweet potatoes. So I'm just going to keep having a look at what's going on, trying to prevent the headaches from starting because it seems like it's really hard for me to get them to stop. It's taking me 3 days of thinking that I've stopped the headache, and I've actually had to add a little bit of carbs. And yesterday I did just have some blueberries, and I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do because I started feeling like it was coming back. Today I feel terrific again, but we'll see. I felt like $1,000,000 the day after having had the sweet potato. So yes, still not really sure what's going on, why this is, but yeah, I'll get there at some point. So with regards to improvements in migraine prevention with a smaller amount of low oxalate carbs, in this case, sweet potato is not low oxalate. I just want to say that. You've seen some people do better. People who are prone to migraines, they have a genetic difference, I believe, but the difference seems to be it seems to be in everyone who has migraines. So we need more sodium to get our nerves to function properly the way that they are. And when the nerves are out of energy, when they don't have that sodium, so they can't send the signals, that might trigger a migraine. But also, our brains are pretty much insulin resistant always. This can come on at different times in life, like in puberty, and it might come on later on when you're going through a menopause or if you are suffering some trauma or whatever. It can be something that isn't necessarily showing, but it will always have been there. It's not like you just all of a sudden going to get an insulin resistant brain. So, with this in mind, if you can't produce enough ketones or use them properly, your brain is not going to have the energy because people with migraine brains are usually very sensitive and they can turn up. And when I say sensitive, that means that your nervous system is just like overactive. It's firing like mad. It's giving like a 10 times response of what a normal person would do. And this doesn't show up in all areas for me. I have an extreme sense of smell, which is kind of annoying. I hear pretty well, but not as well as some people seem to do when they, migraine brain people. I'm extremely ticklish. I'm very sensitive, like to touch. things can, I don't know if they hurt more, but I can feel very little. Like everything annoys me when I'm trying to sleep. If there's the slightest crease in in the bed, it's like it feels like there's a boulder in the bed. Like I can't just relax when it's like that. Always been like that. And that is just because my nervous system is overactive, if you like, in that sense that it will just send a lot of signals telling me that, hey, there's a crease in your sheets. Whereas someone like Bart, he can sleep on a fucking noodle or something and he wouldn't even notice it. So I suspect that in this case, it's just a matter of curing or preventing or taking away the energy deficiency that is in the brain at the time. That's what I think anyway, but I'm not the expert. If you want to read a really good book on some really good research, get your hands on Angela Stanton's The Migraine Cure. Is really, really good. I think we have a super chat, but now I lost the chat, so let's see if we can scroll without everything hopping away. There. Thank you very much, Austrian Carnivore. Thanks for your journey and information. Yep, I'll keep sharing what's happening. Clearly, I just can't do carnivore, so I want to do it, but not at the expense of my well-being. So I'm just gonna keep experimenting. Things are always changing, and I will just have to believe that I can find a solution, and that at some point my metabolism is functioning well enough so that I can actually move on and do that. I'm 12 days in and feeling very low, but I will stick with it for now. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Um, I can't remember exactly how many days in, but it's around that time period where you're gonna feel very like tired, probably when your metabolism is just shifting over from being like a glucose or sugar burning metabolism to the fat metabolism, and it's not gonna just upregulate to be optimal even within maybe a month or two. So that's kind of something that might come progressively. What you might notice as well is that in a little while, you might get the opposite effect, and that's probably like a lot of cortisol, and then you might go back to feeling tired again. But it seems to be very different for everyone. So there is like no pattern that is like universal to people when they're switching to carnivore. So just keep at it. But if you can't adapt, I mean, I did it for 3 months and I sort of regret the last 6 weeks or so because of the constant headaches. But I was like, this has to pass. This just has to go away. I need to keep at it and let it adjust. But my mistake was that I was actually trying to stick with it for too long because it took me, I was also exhausted. I needed a lot of naps. It took me way too long to get back to normal, even after introducing carbs again. So it feels like the longer I go with a headache, the harder it is for me to get out of that state. Have you said you do 98% carnivore? What's the 2%? What carbs do you have? I haven't given it a number. Many days I do 100% carnivore. I might have some garlic butter, so there's like a tiny bit of garlic in there. When in summer, I'm probably gonna have more pesto, which is because I'm growing basil. So when I can make pesto, I love having that on my meat. The carbs that I'm having currently are blueberries and sweet potato. Before I tried bananas and rice. I don't like rice, but if it helps, it helps. Bananas, I think if I was measuring, I think my blood sugar would probably go through the roof, but I'm not sure. And I like having blueberries because I can just put them in the freezer. So I always have them. Whereas if I have a sweet potato and I don't need it for like 10 days or whatever, then they might go off after a while. But they're pretty good at storing. And it's not like bananas. If you buy bananas, you're going to have brown bananas very soon. And then I'm going to feel like either I have to throw it away or I'm going to force eat it when I don't actually need it. So that's completely unnecessary. So I've given up on that. Yay! I hope you enjoy your new job. Perfect. My coaching with Alex gave you the push to do stuff yourself. That was the whole point of having it there, to like stimulate, I mean, obviously to coach him, but also to stimulate your brain to think about what's going on in your life and then adapt it to you. So I love hearing that. It warms my heart that someone is actually using it and not just watching it as entertainment, which is fine, but if I can help someone by just showing what I'm doing, that's terrific. What do we have here? Carnivore only 10 weeks in on weight gain and 45 and made many adjustments. Ugh. As an addict, I'm never satiated nor full, so I have to be very careful. Okay. Weight gain of 45. Do you mean that I hope you haven't like gained that much weight? My brain is like 45. You can't do that in 10 weeks, can you? 45 pounds? That's a lot. Um, yeah. I don't know what to say about that. Sometimes people, if they do a prime or something when they start on the carnivore diet, they do gain weight because their bodies might be so starved of nutrients and everything else that when all of that is coming in, your body's just going to be like, hooray! There's something here and we need to hold on to it because we have been starved for so long and now we don't want to get kind of lose it, so we're just going to hoard everything that is coming in. So you need to tell your body, you need to send it signals that there's plenty of nutrients and there's plenty of food, there's no need to panic, and eventually your body will start to relax about it and just release that again if that is what's happening. Good. I'm glad that you're here. Yes. Who would not love Emily? I mean, she's my soulmate, as I said. We just like the first time I spoke to her, I was like, I love you. All right. Uh, oh God, I envy you so much. I got headache immune after going carnivore. That's what I said. It's like my biggest priority is to get rid of my headache. If I have to eat carbs to do that, I don't give a shit if I develop diabetes or if I'm getting fat. If I can just get rid of the headaches, I'm fucking good. Excuse my French. I swear a lot today. I want to swear. I like swearing. In English, anyway. So, whatever you're doing, like, look at what your priorities are and just choose whatever is most important to you. My most important issue right now is to sort out those bloody headaches because they destroy my life. I can't do anything. I'm like paralyzed. My brain is in a fog. I have to sleep a lot. I don't get anything done. And nothing feels like fun because whatever I'm doing, it hurts my head. That's not a life that I want to live. There are better ways of doing this, and whatever I need to do, I'm gonna do it. Uh, is it common when you're 4 weeks in, the smell of meat or taste of fat makes me nauseous? From the beginning, I crave fat and red meat. I don't know if it's common, but protein can make me feel nauseous, like too much protein. Having said that, when I swapped over to doing 80%, I mean, my normal diet is probably more like 70, maybe slightly more percent fat. So I didn't think that increasing it to about 80% fat would be a huge problem. And I wouldn't say it wasn't a huge problem, but it took me maybe 5 days of doing that. And I just felt like I don't want to touch fat ever again. And I felt like I was going to puke if I was going to eat fat. So I had 3 days of probably higher 60s, lower 70s% fat and actually eating more protein. And then that went away. And now I'm fine. I'm just like pounding the fat. I don't have a problem with it anymore. So if you feel like all foods, because you say the smell of meat and taste of fat makes you nauseous, what I've done, I have been sick of meat. Like I don't want to taste any more meat, but I can always go to eggs because I love eggs. And I'm frying eggs and I'm scrambling eggs and I'm doing egg coffee and I just eat a lot of eggs. And sometimes I'm happy to do that for like 2 days. And then like, well, I could probably eat a steak now. Or I go to a different meat source. Maybe I have because I eat a lot of beef. Maybe I just have some lamb or depending on I don't usually like pork much, but if it's barbecued, I can eat it with but I have to have like um I make my own like spice rub that I put on, like a barbecue rub. So it has a lot more flavor and that just stimulates my senses and then I'm cool and I can go back to eating more meat. So depending on what's going on there, you can just experiment with maybe I mean if you like fish, that's completely different. You can try that. I heard from women that they have a much more complex body recomposition because of hormones. They gain weight, lose weight, etc., while men just get a straight fat loss. Very often the case, not always, but absolutely. But on the same note, I think that women in general they need a little bit more fat as a rule, but not necessarily every single individual. Okay, that seems to be working better for most women. Mm, here's a question. Hey, thank you for putting the cues in front. It does make it easier. Although I don't have like hundreds of people watching these live streams, so it's easy for me to scan through, but it still helps. So please continue doing it. Any known upper protein limit considering satiety, cravings, tiredness after a meal? I'm currently eating 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo body weight with as much fat as I can add to it. It does depend a little bit on how active you are and what sort of activity you're doing. If you're lifting a lot of heavy weights or if you're doing, exercise for many, many hours per day, then you can probably add more and still not be satiated or tired after a meal, whatever. Uh, so when it comes to satiety, this is for me personally. So this might not go for you. People are always saying like you need to eat protein because that is satiating. What I find is that when I'm eating a lot of protein, I feel like okay, that was enough. I cannot swallow another mouthful of meat. It's just not going to go down. It's going to make me feel sick. I have had enough. Whereas after, even like right after, I might still not feel satiated and I might not feel full even though my body says we have had enough protein. But if I eat a lot of fat, I never have that. I feel a lot more satiated. I feel full. I feel complete in a completely different way than I do when I have a high protein meal. It just does not work for me. And I say high protein, I mean percentage wise, because the absolute amount of protein that I eat will be the same whether I'm having a lot of fat or not. It's just that my body just says, no, we have had enough. We can't eat more of this. And that's why I usually have my egg coffee in the morning because otherwise I don't even know how I'm going to get enough protein in. I don't know how to physically do that without sort of throwing up. And then I'm actually not getting it in anyway. 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo body weight is a lot. I wouldn't think that you need to increase that. And if you're adding as much fat as you can, are you actually, I mean, do you not feel satiated? If you're tired after a meal, it might just be that you've eaten a very big meal. Because when you're digesting stuff, all the blood is going to go to your stomach and it will digest stuff. And you will pretty much not have the blood supply to your brain as much as you would otherwise, because all of those blood vessels around your digestion tract are just going to be um, sort of expanded and they're going to be sucking up the nutrients and delivering them to wherever they go. But like everything is going to be centered there. The blood is just drawn into that area. So this is not a good time for you to do any like focused work or go out exercising or whatever, because your blood is just going to be in the digestive tract. So the bigger meals you have, the more of that effect you're going to notice. So that could be the reason. Uh, so worrisome. As an addict that has maintained a weight loss for 17 years of 165 pounds, putting it back on is really messing with my head. Yeah, I absolutely get that. Anthony, try a few different things. Like, I don't know what your diet actually looks like, but you said 10 weeks. So you probably have like a pattern. Look at what your macros are and start changing those around and see what happens. If you're not high fat, I would encourage you to just try it and go higher on fat and slightly lower on protein. Because one thing with, I mean, I don't know how much protein you eat, but if you are eating a lot more protein than you need, you will also get more gluconeogenesis, which means that you are going to produce more sugar, and that will raise your blood sugar. And maybe that will have an effect on your insulin. And then what is happening is that that is going to stall your own fat loss. It could be as simple as that as well. But I can totally understand why you don't like it. Not sure I understand this question. So I'm wondering the connection with what component that regulates my sugar. I know there are many. I'm quite curious if it's a really tiny component in the regulation process. Yeah, I'm I'm wondering that too. So I was wondering if I'm, for whatever freaking reason, slightly insulin resistant. It could be, I mean, I don't want to do the experiment, but I could go back and eat like carbs for several days in a row, but like pretty much for the whole year. I don't think I've had a day where I've eaten more than maybe 100 grams of carbs in one day. And that is very high for me, and that hasn't happened many times. Usually, when I'm eating carbs, I'm eating 30, maybe max 50 grams in a day. So it's not like I'm just going on a binge. So, but even having that amount, I think I should have all the enzymes and the whole sugar metabolism set up to actually deal with that. Um, so, and also having the insulin response be appropriate. So I'm sort of wondering, am I not eating carbs often enough for that to be functioning optimally, or have I somehow developed a little bit of an insulin resistance or an over response to insulin, or having slightly elevated insulin levels as a base? I do not know why that would happen, because I'm not cheating. I would tell you if I was cheating. I'm never eating a lot of carbs. I'm not going off track. I'm not having binges. So I'm not really sure what would cause any of that. Have been thinking about something that when I was 6 years old, I was in Ecuador. That's where my dad is from. And I was playing around. I was catching crabs in a river. But that river, everyone was shitting in that river, or they were dumping the shit in that river. So I developed hepatitis C. And I was treated for that, but I'm not. I mean, I was 6 years old. I have no idea what they were doing. I just remember that they were taking a lot of blood tests, and I was screaming like as if they were trying to kill me. So eventually, they had to stop taking blood from my arms, and they were actually sitting there like milking my finger for like ever, because I could stand a finger prick, but I couldn't stand like getting a needle in my arm. That must have been really fun for them. Like a rabid 6-year-old that just like, you're not gonna take my blood. Anyhow, I would have imagined that that is healed, but I know that hepatitis is a virus and they can hide. And if that is hiding in my liver somewhere and impacting my body in that way, or I have no idea. Like, I'm trying to think about anything that could be a potential problem. And I don't see this as very likely, but maybe. I have no idea. I was also thinking of like glucagon resistance, but I have no idea why I would have that either. When when the blood sugar goes low, I don't get enough gluconeogenesis happening. I produce enough ketones. Maybe I can't use those ketones as efficiently as others would do, and that's where the energy deficiency is coming from. But that would still not necessarily mean that my blood sugar has to be that low. And what Ryan was saying was just like it might be a response because I don't eat enough, but it doesn't feel like I'm not eating enough. Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry. I wish I did. That would be so nice. But yeah, I'm also wondering about that connection. Extreme sense of smell can be related to estrogen overload. I had that once when I had fibroids and estrogen overload. Interesting. I don't think that's my case because I've had it since I was a kid, as I've always had that. But I didn't realize that my sense of smell was extreme. I think I've told this before, but when I lived with one of my exes, we had like this flat with a really really long hallway, and which was leading out to the kitchen and the main room, etc. And I was sitting in the main room, and he just came home after work, and he was just taking his shoes off, and immediately I could smell that he had been drinking alcohol. So I was like, "Have you been drinking?" And this is probably like the hallway was probably maybe 3 meters long. Like, so I'm kind of there's a hallway and then I'm around the corner and I could smell that. And he was like, "Yeah, I just had one beer." Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I have no idea how I smelled that. It seems like impossible, but it just happened. And unfortunately, that means that it's very unpleasant to fly long flights when you have people who are nervous and sweating a lot. It almost wants to make me puke. Uh, Anyhow, no, I don't know how your message got deleted. Error, try again. So try again. See if it works. Hello, Canada is watching. I'm glad Canada is watching. Thank you for being here. um, Hi, Pim. What could be causing thirst that doesn't go away with drinking? It gets worse after eating meat, potassium deficiency. Have been having this problem on carnivore for quite some time. Mm, thing is that unless you're having some problems with your kidneys are pretty good at retaining potassium. What you're losing when you're starting carnivore, so you have done it for quite some time, is mostly sodium. So that's probably not going to be the case for you. And on carnivore for quite some time. So how long have you had this problem? And is your urine like cloudy maybe? Because if you are, for example, oxalate dumping, you could potentially have this effect because you have such a large oxalate buildup and you just need to weed them out. Obviously, if you've been carnivore for a very long time, it shouldn't be anything to do with your blood sugar. Try to increase your salt intake for a while and see if that helps. Not really sure. I know I usually say that, but I love you guys, and I will answer some carnivore questions or whatever dietary questions. But I do want to keep this channel a bit on topic as well, which has to do with cravings, lifestyle changes. Why can't I stop eating this? Why can't I stop eating that? Whatever. That's what I am focused on mostly doing, and that's what the Facebook group is about. So if you're having problem actually sticking with your diet, you can join the Facebook group called Life Beyond Cravings for Kick-Ass Carnivores, and I will let you in there. I even have a few people who aren't actually even low carb, which is fine. But just so you know what the actual topic is about. Let's see. Not Sure, that is. Okay, so yes, I did gain 45 in 10 weeks. I guess you're talking about, oh, for, is it 45 inches? Or are we talking about pounds here? I'm still confused. From extra small to extra large, it feels awful. Yeah, I can understand that. So is that mostly fat then? Or do you know? Because if you're eating a lot of protein, you're probably putting on some muscle as well, and probably more muscle than you would expect, actually. It seems to happen, which is quite nice. Hi, Bella. My mom has migraines and also has a very keen sense of smell. It used to be so annoying hiding my cigarettes when I was a teenager. I bet you could not hide it. I mean, I can smell anything on anyone. If you've been smoking, you need to air out those clothes for at least 2 days. It's also annoying because it triggers my like allergies. If someone has, it's not all perfumes, but a lot of them, it will just get me sneezing straight away, and I might get a headache straight away from having that and just feel like, ugh. And that's also supposedly from the overactivation of the nervous system. Like, you are smelling something that is really awful, and we're going to send you a billion messages about that. Um, so, yeah, you wouldn't be able to hide that from me. No way. Smoke is very telling. By the way, you shouldn't be smoking. I'm currently working on my next video. Yay! What carnivore improved in my life? Currently, I have 28 points and I'm not done yet. It's just freaking ridiculous. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. It does. It's fun, it's rewarding, but it does take a lot of time. And people usually think, I post a 30-minute video, it's taking me hours to do all of that. Like, you have to think about what you want to talk about, you have to record it, you have to edit it, you have to upload it, you have to make some fucking thumbnails if you want them, you have to write the description. There's so much going into that, and we don't really think about that. So yeah, just expect it to take some time. You're not going to get away from that. Good advice, Pim. Eggs will do for now. Yeah, I mean, if you're eating dairy as well, like a cheesy omelette, it's pretty good. You can put some cream in there and butter, all the good shit. Um, Austrian Carnivore, is Austrian Carnivore the channel? Tell us where the channel is so we can go and subscribe. Blah blah blah. Yes, so you can talk to. I don't really do nutrition consultancies. I'm dealing more with the cravings aspect. So that's what I'm doing. I do have some clients and we do discuss diet a little bit, but if diet is what you need help with and kind of tweaking that, you can talk to Bart or you can talk to Kelly Hogan. Sally is more about the oxalates. So if you're having actually an oxalate problem that you're noticing, then absolutely go and talk to her. I think she's brilliant. Sally is my favorite guest on this channel. She's wonderful. There are many good people out there. Do I get timers because I post too many messages? I don't see a reason why every 20th message gets removed. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so. Ooh, I think I missed this super chats. Apologies about that. Thank you very much again. Keep in mind, Anthony Clem is Melanie. Yes, it's Melanie Anthony, which is fine. You know what? You don't have to even like tell me who you are. You can just put XX. I don't care. Like, obviously, if I know who you are and you're coming back and I get to know you, it's kind of fun to know who you are and what we discussed before. And So I know a little bit about you, but it's not really that important. It's up to you. Vicky, on day 251 of carnivore 2 weeks ago, I upped my fat and started feeling better and losing weight again. I feel full and complete too on high fat with some protein. Yeah. I don't know if me upping the fat from 70% to 80% is what did it. I think it's more like trying to really be zero carb most of the time, but headaches aside, like the last month, I probably lost about 5 pounds, but I don't feel good. That's why I'm saying I'm rather fat than having headaches. So I think for many people, especially if you are like a hyper responder and like the slightest amount of protein, we just get you to produce a lot of um, blood sugar from that, then going high fat is probably going to help you. Having said that, if it's like your body is just feeling like you are in a bit of an energy deficit and it's not getting everything that it needs to feel secure, then it's going to hold on to things. And upping the fat might just help with that. So there's so many reasons for why that could help. But if that is working and you still need to lose fat, bloody go for it. Right. Off topic, but I want to know what's the time at your place currently? Because I have to talk with Professor K on Friday and the calendar shows CET. Europe doesn't have CET yet. We are CEST. Well, his, I think he has Calendly. So that should, I mean, that is Central European time because Calendly should show up in your time. So I think that that is probably what it is. So CEST is Central European Standard Time, CET Central European Time. I think you just been confused, and I think that the calendar is actually showing you the right time. Right now it's 8:48 a.m. here in New Zealand, but Calendly always shows you in your local time unless you change it or you're working behind a VPN or something like that. Then it might be confused, but it should pick up on where you are. But what you can do is like just schedule it, and if you're in doubt, like send him an email, double check. I'm getting obsessed with trying to figure it out, maybe because my headache process. I'm so sorry. But if you do figure it out, let me know. No, I I just need to keep trying things. And it's easy come up with a billion ideas, but you know, that's what it is. Hello Pim. Hello, Jonathan. We are going to do an interview, like an extra thing on the channel tomorrow, I think. I'm going away today, so I'll check my calendar later. But yeah, that would be good. That sounds horrible. I wonder if that is the connection. Everything about headaches is horrible. But yes. I think the not eating response is too simplistic. I think so too. I think one component is probably um, hormonal because I am much more likely to get those headaches a couple of days after my period starts, which is funny because this one actually started a couple of days, or was it 2.5 days after, at the same time as my blood sugar dropped. So it could be that the cause is hormonal, but then it is triggered still by a low blood sugar. I could undereat extremely on carnivore, but if I eat dairy, I would still gain weight. Also, highly addictive for me. Upped dairy within 2 weeks, fourfold. Had to cut it out directly. Yeah, you're not the only one. Oh, Jesus, I'm missing everything. Why don't I see them popping up? Thank you, Bev. I can't see the super sticker on here. I want to know what it did. Thank you so much. I love you. I'm going to scroll down to make sure there's no more. Okay, good. And I can continue. I'm able to talk for 30 minutes without a single cut currently. I have no brain fog so far. Early videos should be pure, in my opinion, so people see the brain clearness of carnivore. Um, yeah. I mean, I can't be bothered to cut them. The only time I'm cutting my videos is if I'm making like something that has to be really short. If I'm making a video that I want to put on TikTok or something, or a YouTube short, then I will go in and cut it because I pause a lot when I'm talking. And that is taking up a lot of time if you want to make a really short video and get a lot of information through. So that's the only time I'm doing it. Otherwise, I'm like, this is me. If I'm doing brain farts, just freaking enjoy it. I don't care. It takes too much time for me to bother with that. If I had a lot of money, I would let someone else do it, pay them to do it. But right now, I don't. Vicky, I've always had a very high sense of smell. It's annoying. Perfume, scented candles, etc. give me headaches and makes me nauseous. Yeah, I actually like scented candles, but the stuff they put in them it's terrible. So if you're gonna do that, make sure that it's just like an essential oil and nothing else in there. And I'm actually thinking about making scented candles because I'm eating so much beef fat now, but I need to fry it a bit, so I always get like rendered fat and I'm just saving it and saving it and I don't know what to do with it all. And I can't be bothered to make soap. That sounds like a pain in the ass. And I have so much moisturizer now. And I'm like, what am I gonna do with all this fat? Because I'm eating the fat pieces. I don't like just rendered fat. I couldn't like drink it. I need to chew on it. So yeah. I might just put some vanilla bean essential oil in there or something, get some wicks and produce candles and burn them. That's what I did in the days, wasn't it? Do we even have reliable ways of determining deficiency to know if cravings are caused by deficiency? um, Not really. If it's a deficiency in a specific amino acid, so that you have, excuse me, just like a deficiency in the signals in your brain, like you can't produce enough neurotransmitters because one of the amino acids is you don't have enough of that, then if you're supplementing with it, that would just show you straight away that this was the problem. I have never found that is the problem for me, but I'm thinking that, a lot of people say that the cravings disappear when they go on carnivore, and I'm wondering if it's like a low grade deficiency that just gets corrected with eating a lot of meat because they get all the amino acids and then that goes away. If it's like a deficiency, I don't know, you might be thinking about something like a chromium deficiency, which means that you wouldn't be able to maybe regulate your blood sugar as well. If that were to be the case, then you may or may not notice a difference actually eating chromium because that's not going to be a quick fix, I don't think. Having said that, if it can be fixed that way, fine. I I like to kind of think about cravings as physiological cravings and mental cravings. So the physiological cravings are always due to like a hormonal response, like with your insulin and your blood sugar, etc. That if you're abusing your metabolism so that your blood sugar is like up, down, up, down, up, down every single day, you're going to get more cravings because you're going to get this false hunger that you wouldn't have if you're eating something that keeps your blood sugar stable, like a carnivore diet, for example. I treat them differently because you can treat that with food. And if that's all that you need to do, then happy days. You don't really have to worry about it. Do you guys hear that? Anyway, If you hear it, it's just like that. There's a wardrobe on the other side of this wall, and Bart is looking for clothes. So clearly he's woken up because his stream is starting in 5 minutes. Where was I? I'm distracting myself. Yeah, so if that is the cause, then it's quite easy to fix. Like go on carnivore and you're not craving again. And there are people like that out there. The people that I'm working with, they are not like that because they have the mental cravings. So it's always like an emotional response or something. Like we don't want to feel a certain way. We're trying to escape something. That's what's going on. And then we have made it really well practiced habit to keep eating. And that's what we need to correct. Um, so I wouldn't say that there's a test for it, but if it is a deficiency, you can always try to treat it yourself. If it helps, you're onto something. I found that I crave carbs in my sleep. Carb maze. If I don't eat enough protein fat. That's so funny. I've heard of other people have that. What was it that Bart was dreaming on when he started the 90-day carnivore experience? It was something bizarre, like fruit, I think it was. He never eats fruit. Even if we were to have fruit in the house, he wouldn't really eat it because he doesn't like it. But he was dreaming about fruit. Um, yeah, you're welcome. It shows 6 to 7 a.m. for me. If New Zealand's 8:48 p.m. now, no, we were 8:48 a.m. So if your calendar shows 6 a.m., that would be 5 p.m. for New Zealand, but it shows at 7 to 8 p.m. It's confusing. Well, I don't really understand. Send him an email because I can't speak for his calendar. I don't really understand. I don't smoke anymore. Yes, good girl. Was never addicted. Could pick it up and drop it anytime, but quit for good 10 years ago. Like, see? And that's what you can do with carbs as well. You don't need those bloody carbs. I mean, I do, but I don't need the ones that are addictive to me. So when I'm talking about like cutting out, I'm not eating sugar. I'm talking about the stuff that I'm addicted to, like ice cream and cookies and whatever, the processed foods, because I'm not addicted to blueberries or sweet potatoes. It's not like when I've had the sweet potato, I'm like, oh, I'm done. I really don't want more. Most of the time, I enjoy a sweet potato, but sometimes it feels like this was not what I wanted to eat. But I've cooked it and I know it's going to help my headache, so I'll eat it anyway. Or most of it, sometimes I just give half to someone else. Like, I can't do it anymore. And blueberries are nice, but I don't think I could be addicted to blueberries. They're not spiking my dopamine enough for me to be like, oh, I need more of that. But it's nice and it can easily become a habit. Mm. Your post about YouTube not recognizing daylight saving time vanished. Uh, okay. Maybe you want to post it again because I can't see any. So my fasting blood sugar is 45 to 65. Holy fuck. I've been down to 63 is the lowest I've seen now, but that's low. I only eat when I'm forced in the kitchen by my hunger, usually 1 to 2 times per day. Does that mean ghrelin is stronger and destroys insulin effect? So you only eat when you're forced in the kitchen. I don't know why ghrelin would destroy the insulin effect. I'm not sure. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what's your thinking behind that? I mean, when you're not eating, insulin should be really low. So I'm not really sure. I can't really answer that without more clarification. Okay. My last carb meal was I ate McDonald's fries and looked at the cheeseburger. I was so disgusted by myself of eating fries. I threw the burger in the bin in my sleep. Yeah, okay, so you're clearly having some mental problems. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's just funny. Um, I've heard about many people having them. I just haven't ever had them really. Mango is amazing. Oxalates, smoxalates. Okay. I like mango, but it's not the most amazing thing I've ever eaten. And something I really hate is like mango flavored drinks. I think that's disgusting. I don't know why. Okay, that was actually the last comment, and that is such good timing because it's 9:01. So I would just want to say, like, hop over to Bart's channel, watch his premiere because I think he has one. Otherwise, he wouldn't be up already. That's usually how it goes. And thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for the super chats. I appreciate you all. Um, there's actually two more, so I'll just put them up quickly. Let's see. I do not go to the kitchen when I feel rumbling in my stomach. I have 1 to 2 events where I feel I want to stand up, go to the kitchen, cook a steak, and that's when I eat. Okay. But if that works, there's no problem. I mean, the rumbling in the stomach can be like your stomach is empty, not necessarily super, super hungry. Sometimes my stomach is rumbling and I'm like, I'm not that hungry, and I'm fine with that. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, let's see. I had cravings once since started carnivore. Blueberries in my orchard ripened. I tried to eat a handful and my blood sugar dropped to 20. Used to be hypoglycemic. Had intense cravings for a week. So was that the rebound effect from eating the blueberries? Did it go down to 20? Because that is crazy. That is very, very low. Thanks, Bev. uh, thanks so much, Pim. All the info is very appreciated. Awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad I can help. See you next time. Yes, you're more than welcome to come back. I love having you here, and I hope that the eggs will help. Thank you. Okay, thank you all. That was all. I'll see you next week or on Monday if you're here to watch my premiere on Monday, or whenever I'm going to premiere my interview with Jonathan. We're going to talk about um, disordered eating and kind of bodybuilding, I think. We shall see what it is. So, all of you, take care. I will see you soon and have a really good day. Bye.